Welcome back, GBL, for another Inside the GBL. A little redundant there. But we are finally, after 10 weeks of regular season play, after 2 weeks of playoff baseball, we are finally in the World Series, and we have a rematch of last year's World Series. This year we have the Stallionaires taking on the Gashouse Gorillas once again. The Stallionaires were a different team name last year. They had the anti-heroes tag, but it's the same team, so it's pretty much a rematch. So last year, the Gashouse Gorillas beat the Stallionaires in a 7-game series, beat them 4-1, and then during the regular season, the Gashouse Gorillas and Stallionaires both split the season series. So they split essentially 2 games apiece. In week 1, they play the Gashouse Gorillas and Stallionaires played the first game of this season of the nightcap. Gashouse won 2-0. And then the game right after that, in week 1 as well, it was a 9-inning epic where the Stallionaires won 2-0. And then in week 6 they played as well. The Stallionaires won the first game 4-3. And then the last game of the season series, Gashouse Gorillas won 9-0. They went off on that game. That's all I remember. I think Radishak had like 5 home runs in that game. It was insane. So congratulations to both teams making it to another World Series again. This will be the 2nd straight appearance for the Stallionaires team, and this will be the 5th consecutive appearance for the Gashouse Gorillas, and they are looking to win their 4th straight championship in a row for the GBL. I know I predicted in the semifinals that the Taka Drivers and Nighttime Ninjas would make it to the World Series. I was hoping for something different. I thought the best hitting team in the league and the best pitching team by the numbers during the regular season would get to the World Series. Unfortunately, I was wrong. That's going to happen. What am I supposed to say? I can't get everything right. I did get the 4 playoff teams right. I definitely got that right before the season started. And I didn't even know anything about the league yet. So, congratulations to the Nighttime Ninjas and Taka Drivers having fantastic seasons. Maybe next year it'll be your year, but the 2015 year is either going to belong to the Gashouse Gorillas or the Stallionaires. Let's take a look at some of the stats for the Stallionaires and Gashouse Gorillas. For the playoffs, we're only going to talk about playoff stats. We're not going to talk about the regular season. That is over and done with. It's a whole new year. It's a whole new season. It's a whole new series coming up this Sunday. The Gashouse Gorillas have also won 10 of 13 postseason games against the Stallionaires. So if the Stallionaires want to win the series, they're going to have to buck the trend and find a way to win a best-of-7 against the Gashouse Gorillas. But speaking of the Stallionaires, let's talk about some of their playoff stats. Their batting average leader during this year's playoffs is David Kunapasic. He's 6 of 13, hitting .462 with 1 home run and 2 RBIs, and he has a .563 on-base percentage. The person who hits the most home runs so far is a tie between John Reyna and Matt Kuna with 2. And the most RBIs is going to Matt Kuna, who has 6. The best ERA on the staff, obviously, I think it's going to go to Matt Kuna. 0.63 ERA. He only allowed 1 earned run against the Nighttime Ninjas' prolific offense last week. So last series. So if Kuna comes in relief, there's 2 things you got to know. They are either in a close ball game, or they're up on the team already, and Kuna's in there to shut the door. And about 80%, not 90% of the time it works, because there's some instances where he'll give up to 1 run to tie the game, and that's pretty much it. You never really see him lose, because in his postseason career, Matt Kuna is 7-2 in 39 innings pitched with a 2.31 ERA. So he is definitely one of the best pitchers, relieving pitchers on the mound. And then for their starters, we already know David Kunapasic and John Reyna are going to be going in Game 1 and 2. Pretty sure John Reyna will be going in Game 1. This year on the mound in the playoffs, he's 1-0 with 5 innings pitched with a 3.00 ERA. He has a 10-1 strikeout to walk ratio. He's 10 walks and 1 strikeout. So if he can cut down on the walks, that'll definitely help the Stallionaires get momentum and definitely keep Gashouse Gorillas off the base paths, because the Gashouse Gorillas get a couple of people on base. You might get a 3-run or a 4-run home grand slam, and out of nowhere it's 4-0, or depending on the score, they can take a big lead or take the lead. And then Nate Bryan will be playing in his 100th career Griffle ball game this Sunday in game number 1. He definitely has the most at-bats for the Stallionaires in the playoffs. His career, he's hitting .437 with 22 home runs, 45 RBIs in the playoffs. So Nate Bryan, when it comes time for crunch time, on the lawn chair, he's definitely ready to pick it up and hit the ball, because even in this year's playoffs, he's hitting .444 with 1 home run and 4 RBIs. So the Gashouse Gorillas are going to have to find a way to get around this lineup, because they've been hitting like crazy in the last couple of games. Last week they had back-to-back. How many backs you want to go? But it was only 3 home runs. So they had that happen, where it felt like that game was over, and out of nowhere, they stole that game away right from the Nighttime Ninjas. And then in the game before that, they got a couple of home runs as well. So Stallionaires are a little homer happy right now. The power surge is starting to come through the Stallionaires. They're starting to feel it. So their stats are proving that this postseason is going to be different than last year's postseason after they lost in 5 games to the Gashouse Gorillas. And let's not forget about the 2015 reliever of the year, David Kunapase. On the mound, he had a good year during the regular season, but so far in the playoffs, he's pitched 6 innings and has a 4.17 ERA. He hasn't lost any games yet, so he's 0-0, and he hasn't been in any save opportunities yet. So he did have the most saves during the regular season. So let's see if he ever comes in to shut down the door. But I'm expecting him to start these games and then have Matt Kuna come in the later innings to shut down the door if need be. For the Gashouse Gorillas, what else is there to say about the commissioner, Jeremy Radishak? He's played in the most playoff games. He has the best batting average. He has the best home runs during the playoff. His most home runs, most RBIs, and the best ERA during this year's playoff. He's hit .579 with 5 home runs and 10 RBIs. He's got .619 on base percentage. And he's allowed no runs when he's on the mound in 6 innings pitched, and he's already 1-0 with 1 save as well. During his career, I just have to read these numbers off because I think they are amazing. These are stat stuffer numbers. Jeremy Radishak in 45 games is 118 for 222. He's hitting .532 with 56 home runs, 109 RBIs, 33 walks, struck out 46 times, and has a .592 on base percentage. Then on the mound, he's 6-4 in 84 innings pitched with a 2.20 ERA, with 58 walks and 93 strikeouts, and he's 12 for 15 in save opportunities. I got it right here. That is a stat stuffer playoff career. That is insane. He's just always on fire. He's by far the best lefty in the league because he's the only lefty in the league. And he might be by far the best hitter in the league next to Kuna, Kruchek, Nate Bryan, and Ethan Arve. He might have had a couple of MVP votes, but Ethan Arve ended up winning that award because of the season he had for the Nighttime Ninjas, and they had the best overall record. And then we're talking about Jim Tucker, their best starter, their ace of the staff. He's so far this playoffs, he's 2-0 with 9 innings pitched. He's only given up 1 earned run as well. He's got a 0.56 ERA with 2 walks, 14 strikeouts. So he's not going to walk a lot of people, and he can locate his pitches. So they're going to have to swing early and often as the Stallionaires try to hit Jim Tucker, because he's going to find the lawn chair no matter what happens, it seems. And in his career, he's 8-1 with 40 innings pitched with a 2.38 ERA, 47 strikeouts to 11 walks, and he's 3 for 5 in save opportunities. So he is definitely the ace of their staff. We've already said this. He's probably the most important player in this series, in my opinion, because if he's on the mound and he's dealing every single game he starts, they can win 4 or 5 games. They can be up a few runs in the early going, and give him some run support. The series might be over before you even know it. And then Ryan Gallagher wasn't here last year, so this year in the playoffs, he's having a very good playoffs. He's 10 for 19 with .526 average, 3 home runs and 4 RBIs with a .609 on base percentage. So he's getting on base a lot, and he's driving the runs in, and he's helping his team trying to win another championship. And then on the mound, he's struggling just a little bit. He's 0-1 in 3 innings pitched, so he's only had 1 game under his belt with a 6.67 ERA. So because he's definitely going to, he was announced the Game 2 starter, so he's going to have to get those numbers down if him and the Gashouse Gorillas want to win another World Series. And then we also have Nick Bobowski, best strength, on the mound. He's got a nice little floater, a couple little touches that seem to throw Griffle ball players off. So if he comes in relief, and they definitely need him out there, he might be an impact player if he's on the mound and they need one good inning out of someone. Nick Bobowski is your guy. And then so far, let's give a couple of stats, like some notables of what's going on in this series. Like I said, Radishak is leading the postseason in batting average, home runs, RBIs, and ERA. Matt Kuna for the Stallionaires only allowed 1 run in 8 innings versus the Nighttime Ninjas this year. And his postseason stats are just as good as anybody else's in the league. So when they get a lead, they're definitely going to rely on Matt Kuna to shut the door or try to make the game go into extra innings. And then I already said it, Nate Bryan will play his 100th career game. Congratulations to Nate Bryan. He's the 3rd player in the GBL who will play his 100th career game, regular season and postseason, along with Jeremy Radishak and Ethan Arve. And then, let's talk about some of the stats between the Stallionaires and the Gashouse Gorillas this year. Jim Tucker this year against the Stallionaires is 2-0. He's only given up 3 runs in 10 innings, and he has 11 strikeouts. So he's had a very good season against the Stallionaires. He's had a very good season overall, as he was named the Cy Young Award winner. So he's definitely going to be a very big impact on the mound if he can locate his pitches, as he always has. He's a very consistent pitcher, so the Stallionaires are going to have to find a way to hit this guy, because not many people have this year. Only one team has, and luckily for the Gashouse Gorillas, they didn't see that team in the playoffs, and they moved on by taking on the Taka Drivers instead. And then, another solid ace for the staff, more like an ace reliever. Matt Kuna was 1-0 with only 2 runs given up in 6 innings versus the Gashouse Gorillas this year. He has 9 strikeouts. You gotta come to expect that. Matt Kuna is a strikeout pitcher. He's gonna strike out a lot of batters. He's definitely gonna hold teams to 1 or 2 runs in an inning, or none at all, because he puts up a bunch of zeros in the box score. So it's gonna be a very interesting matchup between Jim Tucker as a starter and when Matt Kuna is gonna come in for relief. Matt Kuna is his own manager, so he'll make the call himself, and for Radishak, he'll make the call on Tucker, but most of the time Tucker, no matter what happens, is always going 3 innings. And then also, Jeremy Radishak has 6 home runs in 4 games versus the Stallionaires this year. Yes, one of those games he had 5 home runs. It was the last game they played, so he had 5 home runs in the last game, but he only had 1 home run in the 3 games they played earlier, where the Gashouse Gorillas were 1-2. So when you hit 5 home runs, they got to win. So if the Stallionaires can hold Jeremy Radishak to what they did in the first 3 games against him, instead of the last game, they're definitely going to be on a good track to win this World Series and their first championship in the GBL. There's only been 2 champions in the GBL ever. The Lightning have won 2, the Gashouse Gorillas have won 3. The Stallionaires are looking to place their plaque right at 2015, right under those 5 teams, so we'll see what happens. And then, another little interesting fact for this year, Nate Bryan is the only Stallionaire player to record a hit in every single game versus the Gashouse Gorillas this regular season. He's 5 of 19 this year, and he is the only player to get a hit. So there's a couple of games where there was only 1 hit, and that hit came from Nate Bryan. And so Nate Bryan can hit the Gashouse Gorillas. He's going to be a very dangerous player at the plate. If he can find his home run pop in his back, he did last series, got a home run against the Nighttime Ninjas. The Gashouse Gorillas might be in trouble because it's hard to get Nate Bryan out in this league. He might not have the greatest batting average, but he's always hitting over 400, always driving in runs, always hitting home runs. So consistency is key, and patience is going to be key as well for this series, because the more base runners you get, the better chance you have to get a 3-run bomb or a grand slam or a 2-run home run to go up 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, and increase your lead. Because the singles in this league, you can get 3 singles, and all of a sudden you get the bases loaded, and you can get 2 outs or hope for an error. So I think home runs in this series might be very, very crucial to both teams. And then we're having a little split stats versus the Stallionaire hitting and Gashouse hitting versus each other. The Stallionaires hitting this season versus the Gashouse Gorillas. They are 10 for 55, hitting 182 with 6 RBIs, 3 home runs, 10 walks, and 25 strikeouts. On the opposite end of the spectrum, the Gashouse Gorillas hitting this year versus the Stallionaires pitching. They're 26 for 73, hitting 356 with 14 RBIs, 7 home runs, 10 walks, and 13 strikeouts. So this year, even though they split the season series, that last game made a huge difference. I'm pretty sure they went like 10 of 20 or like 12 of 20 from the plate. So if you take that away, they might be hitting under 200. So you take that one game away, you take away 6 home runs, so they hit 6 home runs that game. You take away the 9 RBIs. So it was basically one game was a stat stuffer for the Gashouse Gorillas. So if you take away that one game, everything was pretty much even, but we're not going to take away that one game. But during that one game, I know the Stallionaires didn't have a full roster. This is the first time the Stallionaires had a full roster. It's coming into this postseason since week 3. So they're going to have all 4 players ready to go for the World Series, no matter what happens. Rain, shine, snow, it doesn't matter. You never know with this weather. It might snow nowadays. Alright, and then here comes my predictions, or if they must win kind of scenarios. If the Stallionaires win this series, they must shut down Jeremy Radishak. Jeremy Radishak is one of the best hitters in GBL history. He also has one of the best postseason numbers in the GBL. And he's also leading the league in every notable category this postseason. So they're gonna have to find a way to shut down Radishak at the plate, and they're gonna have to find a way to hit him on the mound if he comes in for relief, because he's got his slider working now, and that slider can be very deadly. It just pulls away from the right-handed hitters. So if they can find a way to hit Jeremy Radishak and shut him down at the plate, it's going to be a good series for the Stallionaires. They also need to find a way to hit Jim Tucker, because they've only gotten 3 runs against him this year, and he's 2-0. So they've had trouble hitting Jim Tucker, just like the rest of the league this year. I feel like the Stallionaires also need to play good defense. Nate Bryan's going to be in the field for most of the action, or most likely the entire duration of the series. So it's going to be up to Nate to make sure he catches every ball cleanly, and make sure that the Gashouse Gorillas don't get free outs at the plate, because in the last series, whoever got a couple of errors here and there came back to haunt them. Especially because the Gashouse Gorillas had a couple of errors during the season, against the Taka Drivers. The Taka Drivers made a couple of errors, and it came back to cost the Taka Drivers that series. So if the Stallionaires can play great defense and keep the Gashouse Gorillas off base, it's going to be a good series for the Stallionaires, and they might win. They also need to score when the opportunity arises. Say there's a guy on second or a guy on third. Just try to poke them in with a single or a double. Try to get something. Just try to scratch across a couple of runs, because you never know. I expect this series to be a lot of 1-0, 2-1, or like 1-run games. Low scoring as well. Unless a team gets a hold of a ball or gets a hold of a pitcher, I don't see either team scoring more than 5 runs in any game this series. I know it's a bold prediction, but the way the Griffle Ball League works, pitching is going to be very, very, very key to winning the World Series this year. And they also got to keep up the home run bonanza they've got going on. They have, 5, 6? I think they got 6. We got 1 for Nate, 2 for Kuna, that's 3, 2 for Reina, that's 5. They got 6 home runs in 3 games. If they can keep that home run streak up right now, they can be in good shape. They're going to have to score somehow, and I think home runs are the easiest way to do it in the GBL. You can get a hold of a pitch and take it down the left field line or the right field line at the Griffle grounds. You're going to get an easy line drive home run. So if they can do that, they can definitely win the series. And then I feel like it's important for them to go up early in the series. Like, I feel like this week they either have to tie the series and at least steal a game, or they can go up 2-0 and have home field advantage for his game 3, 4, and 5 if necessary. I feel like it's going to be very important for the Stallionaires to win a couple games very early in the series. And I feel like they need to hit more consistently, because they only hit 182 against the Gashouse Gorillas this season. They can do that, they can win this series. And then on the opposite side of the coin, if the Gashouse Gorillas want to win a 4th consecutive World Series, they must score off the pitchers before Matt Kuna decides to bring himself in the game. Because when Matt Kuna comes in the game, it's going to be very, very hard to get runs off of them or even get base runners off of them. So if they can get a couple of runs off of Reyna or Kunapasic in the early innings, they had like a 3-1 or 4-1 lead. I feel like the Gashouse Gorillas are going to be in good shape going for the rest of the series. And then if need be, if they are in a tight game and they are either losing or tied, you know Matt Kuna's going to come out on the mound and he's going to pitch his best stuff. So they're going to have to find a way to hit Kuna as well. It's a very tough task. Not many teams have been able to do it. Like I said, Kuna only gave him 1 run in the series against the Nighttime Ninjas. So if the Gashouse Gorillas can definitely find a way to do this, they're going to have to hit all their pitchers, no matter who it is. They're just going to have to keep up their hitting because the Gashouse Gorillas have turned on a switch come playoff time and they're starting to hit. And then they're going to need to continue to stifle the Stallionaires bats. They did very well this year. They've only given up 10 hits in 4 games against the Stallionaires and holding them to 185. So if the Gashouse Gorillas can continue to pitch very well with Tucker Gallagher and Radishak and possibly Bobowski, they're going to be in very good shape and they could possibly win this series. They're also going to need to minimize the home run damage. They can minimize all the home run hitters like Reyna, Kuna, Brian, and Kunapasic. They're all pretty much home run hitters. They can minimize those left field drives and right field drives or the deep balls and keep the ball down at the plate so that make sure if what like Matt Kuna likes to say and Nate Bryan likes to say, hit it high, let it fly, because they'll do that a lot to a pitch that's up in the zone because that's the best way to get part of the ball and take the wiffle ball out of the park. So if the Gashouse Gorillas can do that, they're definitely going to be in good shape. And then someone also is going to need to help Radishak at the launcher, at the plate. Gallagher has been doing very well this season. Tucker at the plate, not so much. We'll see if Tucker can turn around because in the first 4 games he's only hitting, I think he's hitting 125 against the Taka Drivers in the playoff game, in their playoff series. So if they can all hit consistently with each other and just bring people in left and right, they're definitely going to win this series. So if they can hit consistently, all 3 players, and avoid just routine groundouts and routine flyouts, they'll be in good shape. And then we already know Game 2 starter has been announced. Ryan Gallagher is going to start Game 2. I feel like he needs to pick it up as well at the mound or on the mound. He only pitched 1 game, but he gave up a few runs. He has a 6.67 ERA in 3 innings. It's not terrible numbers because it's only 1 game. It's a very small sample size. But if they want to win a World Series, Tucker and Gallagher have to go 1-2, 1-2 the entire way. You don't want to waste Tucker's arm during the entire playoffs. I mean, the Gashouse Gorillas did do that against the Taka Drivers, so he started 3 games. So let's see what happens with Ryan Gallagher in the World Series. I feel that's going to be very important. And then, finally, my prediction. I got the 4 playoff teams right. The Taka Drivers, Nighttime Ninjas, Gashouse Gorillas, and Stallionaires. I did not get the World Series right, predicting the semifinal matchup between the Taka Drivers and Nighttime Ninjas. I had them winning and going to the World Series. I was wrong. And then, who knows if I'll be wrong. It might be good if whoever I picked the team to win, that the other team might win. You know, it's wiffle ball. Anything can happen. But my prediction, and I'll leave you with this, and we'll see you guys next time. We'll give you a recap next week. I believe your World Series champions for the 2015 Griffle Ball season will be the Gashouse Gorillas. I didn't want to say that. I've been rooting against the Gashouse Gorillas all year. It's tough to see a team in the league win 4 straight times. It's even tougher to do it 4 straight times. You got to give them credit. I was hoping for the parity did come into play this season. I was hoping for a different champion. Maybe the Stallionaires can give that to me, but I believe the Gashouse Gorillas are going to win this series in 7 games. I believe this is going to be one of the most competitive World Series we've had in a while, because a lot of series are only going 5 games or 4 games in the last few years. So I believe we're in for a good show coming up this Sunday for games 1 and 2. And I believe the Gashouse Gorillas are going to pull it off. My predictions for games 1 and 2, though, I believe they're going to split these 2 games. So that's where I'm going to leave you right now. I have the Gashouse Gorillas winning a 4th consecutive World Series GBL championship. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Go out.